Hello everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show, the UK's only TV programme that's dedicated to your mental health and well-being. On today's show, we're being joined by Apprentice winner and all-round digital marketing guru Mark Wright to give us his tips on the best ways to overcome difficulties in business and make the most of your team. We'll also be treated to a wonderful musical performance by Michael G. McDermott. Our makeup artist Kate Ayamere will be treating our special guest Patsy Wright to a lovely makeover, and Dr Rob Hicks will be telling us how to take care of our skin naturally. Alongside this, we have De-Clutter expert Sally Walford, who'll be talking to us about the best ways to get rid of those sun-lotion bottles and other summer clutter as we transition into autumn. And later on, I'll be giving you my tips on how to best avoid tiredness. But first up, we're joined by Louise De Winter of London's Urology Foundation to talk about and raise awareness for urological diseases. She'll also be giving us a few tips to promote better urological health and managing conditions. Here's a quick video we put together detailing what urological diseases are and who can suffer from them.
Urology is the branch of medicine that focuses on surgical and medical diseases of the male and female urinary tract system and the male reproductive organs. Urology conditions and diseases include urinary tract infections, kidney stones, chronic kidney disease, incontinence, infertility, and erectile dysfunction. There are 5 urological cancers: prostate, bladder, penile, testicular, and kidney. Together, these account for 1/5 of all cancers. Organs under the domain of urology include the kidney, adrenal gland, urinary bladder, urethra, and the male reproductive organs such as the testes, prostate, and penis. The urinary and reproductive tracts are closely linked, and disorders of one often affect the other. Historically, urology has been one of the most important specialist fields of medicine since it deals with internal, external, surgical, and non-surgical factors. Urology has traditionally been on the cutting edge of surgical technology in the field of medicine, including minimally invasive robotic and laser-assisted surgeries, and a host of other scope-guided procedures. Urologists have been regarded as pioneers in the use of robotics in laseroscopic surgery. The UK has the lowest number of urologists per head of the population for the whole of Europe, except Ireland. 50 urologists are trained each year in the UK, but this is not enough. There needs to be around 70 to 75. The urology training course is 5 years long. Some interesting facts about urology are that around 70% of urological patients are men, but 1 in 2 British adults will be affected by a urological condition during the course of their lifetime. Many people suffering from a urological condition will wait years before seeing a doctor because of embarrassment or because they fear nothing can be done. The percentage of people suffering from a urological condition is rising and is expected to continue to rise, in part due to an increasing elderly population. Every hour, 7 people in the UK are diagnosed with a urology cancer. Research by the Urology Foundation suggests 1 in 5 people suffering from or know someone suffering from a urological condition feel ashamed.
Welcome to the show, Louise.
Thank you. Hello.
So can you tell us first of all, who are the Urology Foundation and what do you do?
Yes, well, we're the major national UK charity that actually funds research, training and education into all urological diseases. So that's all the 5 cancers and conditions such as kidney disease and things like urinary incontinence and urinary tract infections as well.
Okay, what would you say are the most common conditions?
Oh, most common is basically things like UTIs, urinary tract infections. Urinary incontinence is phenomenally common, more common than we had even realised ourselves. Wow. And the 5 cancers, the prostate, bladder, kidney cancer, testicular cancer, penile cancer, those cancers actually account for 5,000 people every month being diagnosed.
Really?
So that's
wow.
over 60,000 people every year in the UK are diagnosed with one of those cancers.
Okay, and how does the foundation actually help people?
Well, what we do is we fund the research, so we put a lot of money into the basic science and the research about understanding the diseases, looking for new sort of proteins or biomarkers or some of the genetics involved in some of the cancers. In terms of urinary incontinence, we've put a lot of money into funding how we can maybe recreate the pelvic floor muscles, because a lot of incontinence is because people have lost the use of the pelvic floor, or they've had maybe they've had a uterine they've had a prolapse or something. So we're looking at how we can create kind of biomechanical methods to kind of help people in those areas as well.
So Louise, can you tell us some top tips on how to look after your urological health, please?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, obviously people need to understand that urology is the area of the waterworks. So the most important thing is what we put into our body, because the kidneys are having to do the work of expelling the toxins and the waste products from our body. So primarily healthy diet, and that means actually staying clear of things which are overly salted, not too much salty food, not too much fatty food or processed foods, steering clear of kind of caffeinated fizzy drinks, not too much alcohol. The best thing people can do is drink lots of water. Recommended daily intake is about 2 litres of water, and again, not fizzy water, preferably not.
Why is that? Because I really like fizzy water.
It's something about the bubbles and the fizz. It does something to you. It's kind of got some kind of sodium in it, and it's not meant not to be very good for the bones either. So if you can, steer clear of fizzy drinks generally, but I mean, it's not the end of the world, obviously. It's much more important to get liquids in than not to drink the right liquid, if you see what I mean. But water is best. It's cheap and it's free. The other thing is actually your weight. People don't realise, but actually your weight is very important for your health generally, but actually also for your pelvic floor muscles. So if people suffer from a weak bladder, incontinence issues, actually being obese isn't going to help. So maintaining a healthy body weight, doing regular exercise, all those things which we should be doing anyway for our basic health. And most important for the cancers, do not smoke. Smoking is now the biggest cause of bladder cancer.
Could you end up drinking too much water, or is that actually good?
No, actually you can. I mean, you have to drink a lot, a really lot to have too much. One of the ways of kind of checking your urological health is actually looking at the colour of your urine. So one of the things that if it's very dark, you're probably quite dehydrated. Nurses say that the colour that they're looking for is something like a nice dry white wine or the colour of champagne, so a kind of pale yellow. The cardinal thing that people really need to watch out for in their urine is blood in pee. It's a cardinal symptom of any of the big cancers, like prostate, bladder and kidney cancer. It could just be a sign of a urinary tract infection, so it's not necessarily, but as soon as you spot some red in your blood, spotting in your blood, blood in your urine, go to the doctor straight away, absolutely straight away. And don't wait to see if it happens again, and don't wait to see if it goes away. Just once is enough. And all GPs will say, come in straight away. And the chances are it's nothing. It's nothing serious. They can treat it. If it's a UTI, they'll just whack you an antibiotic. But if you leave it, then that's when potentially you could be leaving something nasty to develop. So the most important thing I'd say to anyone is blood in pee, see your GP.
Now just a question, because you mentioned the pelvic floor earlier. Can you tell us, are there any exercises that people should do on a regular basis to look after that area
definitely.
as well?
In fact, we should all be doing them, and particularly women, and particularly women who have given birth, but actually men as well. Everybody should be doing these, and they're commonly known as Kegel exercises, but they're basically, you need to contract your pelvic floor, and how you find that muscle is if you go to the loo and you're sitting in the loo and you want to stop your stream, that's the muscle that you're pulling in to stop the stream. So that's your pelvic floor muscle. Don't actually exercise it while you're going to the loo, because that's not actually terribly good for it. So the thing to do is if you're, travelling to work, sitting on the bus or something, just gently squeeze in and out, breathe in and out slowly, and do that 3 or 4 times a day. And I think for women who have given birth, I think we should be looking to do, 50 odd repeats a day.
And do you have to hold it for a certain number of seconds, or you just like...
I think maybe kind of 4 breaths in, 4 out or something, but I think it's just important to use it. And if you're not sure about it, particularly women who've just given birth, do ask your health visitor about it. I mean, we did some research earlier this year which shockingly showed that women who'd given birth, over 50% of women who'd given birth had not been given advice about looking after their pelvic floor, and about the same amount of women were incontinent after giving birth. And you can stop incontinence. If it's not too bad, if you do the exercises, you can reverse it. But what we have found in our research is that people are so embarrassed about it, they don't say anything and they don't go to anybody and they don't seek help, and actually things get worse and it deteriorates to a point where they can't actually do anything about it, and then they then have to go into other remedies, other kind of invasive remedies, either like wearing pads or potentially surgery as well.
And I would think that obviously as a person gets older, even if they haven't had a child, or if you're a man,
your pelvic floor
weakens. It will get weakened anyway, so it's something to start doing even from an early age.
Or it's never too late. The good thing is that it's never too late. And men particularly, I think there's a myth that men don't suffer from urinary incontinence, but they do. Particularly men who've had problems, so men who have had surgery are quite prone. And it can be a byproduct of surgery, and it's not always forever. Again, it can be reversed, but if you don't do the exercises, you're not helping yourself. So very important.
Just while we're speaking about men as well, for them obviously to check themselves is very important as well.
Yes, testicular cancer. There's nothing wonderful about it, but the great thing about things like the research over the years is that testicular cancer is pretty much curable. It's about 95-98% curable.
Wow,
It's brilliant. The outcomes for people who've been diagnosed are really, really good, provided people go and they check themselves, and when they have a problem, they take themselves to the doctor. Unfortunately, we're still finding, young men, and testicular cancer particularly hits that age range of about age 15 to about 35. That's the prime age range for testicular cancer. And we're particularly finding that there's still the odd person who will wait and wait and wait because they're embarrassed. They're shy. They don't, they think it might go away. I mean, men particularly as well, we're very aware that a lot of men are kind of less forward about their health, for want of a better word. So that's tragic because the outcomes are so good. And the sooner you present with something, and if it is cancer, and the surgeons can act straight away and surgically remove it, the better, because actually then you might not even need chemotherapy. And obviously, with testicular cancer, chemotherapy can have an impact on man's male fertility going forward. So you want to catch it as soon as possible. Again, we did some research and it showed that over 60% of men in that 18 to 34 age range don't check. And don't check often enough. You've got to check monthly. And the reason why we say monthly is so that people learn what feels right and what feels normal. And then they can tell if there's something not quite right down there. And again, forget about the embarrassment. Talk to a wife, girlfriend, or talk to a GP. And if you've got a female GP and you don't want to take it to a woman, ask for a man to see you. These days a practice will do that. So just get it sorted. I mean, chances are it might be nothing, but again, you don't know until you get there.
Brilliant. Louise, thank you so much.
You're very
for that
welcome.
Information. And guys, if you want to know more information about the Urology Foundation, please head over to our website, chrissybshow.tv. Thanks again. All right, guys, so after the break, our resident business expert and Apprentice winner, Mark Wright, will be giving us an insight into the best ways to overcome difficulties in business. And later on, one of our lucky viewers will be getting a makeover and will be treated to an exciting musical performance by Michael G. McDermott, and will be getting some tips on seasonal decluttering. But first, let's see if you are paying attention. Which of these is not a urological disorder? Is it A, prostate cancer, B, hematuria, or C, aquagenic urticaria? Have a think and I'll tell you the answer after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone. Now, before the break, we had Louise de Winter, who gave us a great insight into the important work of the Urology Foundation. And we've got even more great stuff for you later on, as our lucky viewer, Patsy Wright, will be getting a makeover, and Sally Walford will be teaching us how to declutter our homes as we move from summer into autumn. But first, before the break, I asked you, which of these is not a urological condition? Is it A, prostate cancer, B, hematuria, or C, aquagenic urticaria? Well, I can tell you that the answer is C, aquagenic urticaria, which is actually an incredibly rare disorder in which the individual suffering is allergic to water. So even a drop of water can cause severe rashes and lesions. There have only been a handful of recorded cases of the disorder, making it one of the rarest in the world. So some interesting stuff there. And now for some even more interesting insights, this time into the world of business, we have Apprentice winner and resident business expert, Mark Wright. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Chrissy. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to have you back.
I love the set.
Do you love it? I'm glad.
Beautiful.
I'm glad
it's amazing. It's nearly as beautiful as you today.
Thank you.
So I'm dazzled. Let's do some business.
So before we get into your tips, because you're going to be telling us about how to work effectively with teams and to iron out any problems maybe that you have in your workforce, we do have a few questions from our viewers, Mark.
Excellent.
So let's take a look at the first one.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Mark Wright, I'm a great follower of fashion and also follower of yourself and a great fan of the Apprentice show. I'm intrigued in the online selling marketplace such as Amazon, Facebook, various other marketplaces on the internet. I wonder if you could give me some inspiration as to what you feel will be the quickest and fastest way to create a profitable, sustainable market.
Well, firstly, Chrissy, that's an excellent question. And it's one I'm getting asked more and more as people have more readily available products to sell on the internet. I feel that the first thing you should do is minimize the amount of products you're trying to sell. The biggest mistake people make is having too many products, first of all, and what they lose is they try and become all things to all men and they become nothing very quickly. Start on one marketplace, and I recommend if you've got only a few products starting on Amazon, it has the biggest reach and it'll be cheap for you to get started. There's no upfront costs and you control your products and see which ones sell the best and which ones aren't selling. Once you've identified which ones are starting to sell, move it to Google Shopping. There's a cost associated with it, but the volume is massive. You can get out in front of so many people and the exact type of people that want to buy your products. So start small on Amazon, then to Google, and then increase your product range. It's the easiest way to get started and it's a good way to make money.
Wow, very valuable tips on this show. Mark, thank you so much. We have one more for you.
Go for it. I love these.
Let's take a look.
Okay, so if you were about to start a creative business, then what would be your best tips to keep it going?
Yeah, and how could you kind of say, like, keep the business going for like 5-10 years and gain profits and things like that? What would be your best tips to keep going and not give up?
Another good question, Chrissy. Looked like a nice couple as well. So creative businesses, I believe, are the future. Businesses are all creative businesses, but I assume the young lady was referring to more creative, i.e. logo design, brand design, those types of businesses that are popping up in a similar industry to what I am. Now, the key to running a creative business is to keep moving with the market. Digital businesses, creative businesses, and be it all businesses for that matter, are changing so quickly with technology. And the businesses that are becoming the most successful move with technology and move with their marketplace. And that's how they become and retain the ability to be successful. In my business, am always looking at ways to innovate, and that's changing your product frequently with the marketplace. So an example might be for using outsourcing to be able to minimize your costs to change with the marketplace. And it's also looking at what your competitors are doing frequently. Shop your competitors to understand how much they're charging for their products and what their USPs are, how they're offering similar services to you, but going that extra mile to add value. And that's how you can stay ahead. And as the young man said, that's how you'll remain profitable for years to come. The other thing is you need to keep an edge in the market, and that's by being the best. So learn what your products are and learn what's happening in the sector. Be an expert on your sector. Give away information for free. For example, if you're a creative business, maybe tell your customers a way they could design and develop a logo free, how they could do it free of charge when they're small, and then when they're a big business, they'll come and pay for a logo from you. So give something away to get a lot back in return. That's how you build up a good reputation reputation and last for years.
Brilliant, Mark. Thank you so much. And thank you to our viewers there for asking those questions. And if you have a question for Mark, you can email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. Well, Mark, now it's time for you to share your top tips on how to keep a team motivated and going.
Fantastic. And Chrissy, this is a subject I'm very passionate about, because without my team, I wouldn't be here today. And without any good director, there's a good team, and that's the key. You need to find the right people and get them motivated to work together to be successful. So my first tip is find the right people. When I first started in business, I started too cheap. I was looking for cheap people, and guess what? My mum said, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, and it's so true. Find good people, and don't be afraid to pay for them. You need to find people that have expertise and what you need in that particular staff member, and you need to train them correctly in the ways and business practices that you have in your company. And that's the most important tip, is the first one in finding the right people, because without that you can't then go on to grow and develop your business. So tip 2 is, and this is a bit of a controversial tip, is don't be afraid to part ways with a staff member or move them into a different department. So many bosses out there are afraid to have tough conversations. And let's face it, does everybody that come into your business fit perfectly? Are they in the right role, and are they going to be here for the future? Where I've been, I'd say, successful as becoming a director is analysing very quickly, is this person right? Can we find them a better role, or how can we develop them better? And sometimes they're just not right for my business, and I say to them, is this really right for you? And if I'm feeling it's not right, they're generally feeling it's not right as well. So having those tough conversations moves that person on to a better career, and it also allows you the ability to get someone in the role that's better suited for it as well.
There's a lot of managers that are afraid to have that conversation,
and they hang around for years, and the staff members normally thinking it's not right either. So,
and I suppose that also maybe causes some kind of atmosphere in the rest of the team, maybe.
Correct. And if you have a bad apple on the tree, it rots the whole tree.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so tip 3, and I love this tip, and it's manage every staff member differently. A famous football coach in Australia that I follow very closely said the key for his team's success was he trained every player specifically on where that player originated from. He said if he trained the white Australians differently to the Aboriginal Australians, to the New Zealanders, to all of this, that's how he became a successful coach. And in business is no different. Every single person that works in your business or works in my business has a different upbringing, has a different thing that motivates them and gets them to the office in the morning, and has a different things that upset them and different reasons why they want to make money. Now, every employee that works in my company, I've sat with themselves and their manager and understood why they have come to work for me and why they want to work and why they want to make money. And understanding that has helped me develop my staff into the right roles, but also helped me motivate them to get the outcome that they want in their life, but ultimately it gets me the outcome I want for my business. Never ever blanket management in your company. If you try and treat everybody the same, you'll fail quickly, because like in tip number 1, you try and become all things to all men and become nothing. Try and manage everyone individually, and you'll get the most out of your people, and you'll get the most for your business.
I suppose a lot of managers actually underestimate that point, because they might say, I don't have time to sit down with all my staff, especially if you have a big company, and you have a lot of people to manage actually
45.
as well. So it's like it's a lot of work to do. But like you're saying, you need to take that time to spend with each person individually, because it's true, you have to get to know them, what makes them tick, what motivates them. Because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit the company as a whole.
And people don't want to make me money. They don't want me to be successful, they want to be successful. And you need to understand that and work with them to make them successful in their life, and as a byproduct you will become successful. And you really need to care about making your employees successful. If you don't, give up now. You make them successful.
But Mark, how do you find time though, in a practical sense? How do you manage that?
Chrissy, the key is you have to fit it in. A lot of directors prioritise seeing customers, sitting with their managers, and they forget what it's like at the coalface where their staff. They don't know what their staff are doing on the day-to-day basis, and they don't know who their staff are. And if you don't know who your staff are, if you can't tell the staff member the name of their partner, you're failing that person. I know the names of the children of my staff. I know what they like to do on the weekends, what their partner's name are. And just by walking up to them on Monday and saying, "Hi, Fred, how's Sally? Did you go and see that band that you were going to on the weekend?" They know I care, and then they care more about me.
Okay. Mark, I think we've got time for one more tip. Okay.
And Chrissy, my final tip tonight is shouting about success.
Okay.
Never forget that a small win for one of your staff members can make their week. So each week I make it one of my goals to shout about something one of my staff has done. I look into a particular staff member's workload, I find something they've done really good, and I share it with the whole company. Then, as kind of a rule, but it's happened by accident, everyone piles in the emails and the congratulations to that staff member, saying,
so nice.
well done, that's great. Now, you may not think that's really good because they're just doing their job, but a little thing like that can make a staff member stay with you for years. They go home and say, guess what, the boss said I did a great job on this thing, and everyone congratulated on me. And little things like that make people very happy and dedicated to the business, and then they make you happy.
Brilliant. Mark, thank you so much. Great tips as usual, and we'll see you again very soon on the show.
Thanks, Chrissy. Love the place.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you. Well, guys, we all hope that those business tips have inspired you in your own business endeavours. And stick around, because after this break, we'll be seeing Patsy Wright's fabulous makeover courtesy of makeup artist Kate Ayamere, and we'll be treated to a seasonal declutter session by expert Sally Walford. I'll also be giving you my tips on how best to avoid fatigue, and we'll be treated to an exclusive performance by singer Michael G. McDermott. But first, can you tell me how many small businesses are there in the UK as of 2016? Is it A, 5.4 million, B, 7.6 million, or C, 12.5 million? Find out the answer after this break. Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, the only TV program dedicated to your mental health and well-being. Now, before the break, I asked you how many small businesses are there in the UK as of 2016? Was it A, 5.4 million, B, 7.6 million, or C, 12.5 million? Well, I can tell you that according to the government's Business Statistics Office, there are approximately 5.4 million small businesses operating as of 2016. The government classifies any business employing fewer than 250 people as a small to medium business, and it calculates that small or medium businesses make up over 99% of all business operating in the UK today. So interesting stuff there. But now it's time to meet the lovely Patsy, and here's a photo of her before her makeover. And here she is now, looking absolutely gorgeous. Hi, Patsy.
Hello, Chrissy.
How are you, my darling?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me.
Did you enjoy the makeover?
Oh, wonderful. Like I said, I've just turned 50, and the makeup I did before was a bit 1980s, okay. But this is beautiful. Thank you very much.
Now, I can't believe you're 50, because you look really good. You look really, really good. How do you keep so young?
Well, I just try and enjoy life.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, make the most of it.
All right. Now, you have had, I mean, okay, you say you enjoy life now, but there was a time when you were actually going through some really difficult times. Yeah. You're still managing things at the moment, and you're on your road to recovery. But can you tell us when your mental health issues started?
Yeah. I think probably when I was 12, 13. Okay. I remember I used to feel that things were not quite right. I felt like I wasn't like everybody else, and I used to think about death and dying quite a lot. You know,
at that age, wow.
Yeah. Obviously, that wasn't right, and I couldn't talk about that kind of thing in our family. You know, like in a West Indian family, that kind of thing wasn't talked about. But you know, basically, I felt depressed back then. And And it was around my sort of early 20s maybe that I sought help with that.
All right, so how did it actually affect your life? Because was there anything that had happened in your childhood that led you to feel that way?
Yeah, I'd had quite a traumatic thing happen when I was very young, probably from the age of about 3 onwards. There was some sexual abuse that obviously started those feelings.
Okay. Had you been having flashbacks and things?
Yeah, and just really coming to the realisation that it wasn't, it wasn't right, it wasn't normal.
Okay.
It made me feel as if I was worthless, as if, there was just something drastically different and wrong about me. Very awful. You couldn't put your
finger on it at the time when you didn't know why you were feeling that way, but then afterwards it all came to a head.
That's right.
When you did actually find out that what had happened to you was wrong, because obviously as a child you don't sort of realise until you actually get to learn about things and sex education, all that kind of stuff. Right, then you think, oh my God, I've been abused or whatever. How did you deal with that initial shock?
Yeah, initially, I just didn't want to tell anybody, but I did, and I ended up getting help. Okay. I went to groups and with other people that had been through similar, and I had sort of counselling and therapy and so on, and it helped me to learn to express my feelings, to raise my self-esteem, and not to hide how I felt. Okay. And I think that helped.
Because you've been doing that for years, haven't you?
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Patsy, how did it actually affect your teenage years and growing up until the time when you actually opened up and you spoke about it? What kind of effects did all that have on you and on maybe your mood, your personality, all those kind of things, relationships even?
Yeah. I didn't really trust anybody. And like I said, I just felt really low all the time. And again, the thoughts of death and dying.
Were you suicidal as well?
Yeah. I think that's when it sort of came to a head. And, I did...
You attempted
I attempted suicide.
Okay.
But
more than once?
But, thankfully... it obviously didn't work, and I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously you went through some really tough times, but when you actually did tell someone about what you went through and you got the help and everything, was that quite a difficult step to take, or did you find that it was like a relief as soon as you did?
It was a relief. It really was. And by talking to somebody, like I say, I was able to learn why I was feeling what I was feeling, how I could sort of get over it, and how I could change the way I think, and challenge all those negative thoughts that I had about myself. Okay. And then I started to journal as well. I'd done it as a teenager, so I started that again. Okay. That really helped me just to talk about what was going on through my mind, and sort of putting it all on paper at the time, and being able to read it back and see what what was making me tick. It really helped. And I've actually recently started to do that online as well. So I can share that.
Do that?
It's just something I've always done for myself, and I thought I like to share my experiences. Feeling depressed is one of those things we don't tend to talk about. Yeah. But that makes it worse. It perpetuates it. So I'm very open about myself and my experiences. I share with other people, hopefully so that I can help them.
Yeah. And what's it like now, sort of, obviously, you said you've just turned 50. Do you see this as like a kind of new phase of your life now? Are you looking more positively at the future?
Definitely. I mean, I know this isn't positive, but I lost my mum about 3 years ago. Okay. That was a really, really difficult time because we were very close. But at the time, just after she died, I started in a choir. to just, it was a well-being choir, just to sort of try and lift my mood. And that led me into sort of acting, and it's sort of set me on fire, really. It's really helped with the feelings that I get. Helps build my confidence.
It's actually interesting that you say that, because it's like you sort of lose someone and your instinct actually is to kind of just hide away and grieve. And obviously I'm sure, you know, everyone does grieve when they lose someone close to them, but the fact that you actually did something different, something that you weren't normally doing, and how that helped you, and then how that led into other things. That's a very positive thing that you did there, despite what you were feeling.
It was the whole area was really, really positive. And again, a way of almost putting myself out there and expressing, you know, how I felt.
Well, Patsy, what would you say to others that maybe have been through something in the past that, you know, they haven't really spoken about before, they are feeling down, and they don't really want to sort of, how can I say, kind of carry on, really? What advice would you give to them?
I think the key thing is that you're not on your own. You know, often because it isn't talked about, people think they're the only one going through it. But you're not. You're never on your own. There's always other people that are going through the same thing. So tell somebody. You know, it doesn't have to be a professional. It doesn't have to be anybody that you trust, and also get help. That, you know, if you need help, asking for help isn't weak. It's a very brave thing to do. So get all the help you can. There's so many things that you can do. You know, different kinds of therapy, medication if you need it. That's, you know, if somebody's got diabetes, which I have, they take medication to cope with it. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Never be ashamed of having a mental illness. You know, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And it's okay sort of not to be okay all the time. You know, we're always sort of led to believe that you have to be on top form 100% of the time, but, you know, if you have a bad day, you have a bad day. You get through it and carry on.
Get on with it, keep fighting. Definitely. Patsy, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. And thanks for sharing your story today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, guys, so if you would like a chance to come on the show to tell your story and even to get a makeover from one of our resident makeup artists, please do get in touch via our email, info@chrissybshow.tv, for a chance to appear on the show. And you'll have plenty of time to get in touch after this break. And now, we see nothing wrong in using makeup, as you can see, to enhance one's beauty. However, we shouldn't replace good skincare with makeup. So how can we look after the skin naturally? Here, Dr. Rob Hicks gives us his top tips.
Hello, I'm Dr. Rob Hicks and welcome to Doctor's Orders here at the Chrissy B Show. Today, I'd like to talk with you about keeping your skin healthy. Now, if I asked you which is the largest organ in the body, you may say, oh, it's the liver, or you may say, oh, it's the lungs. But in reality, the largest organ of the body is our skin. Laid out flat, on average, it's about 2 square meters in area. And it takes around about 15% of our body weight is made up of our skin. Our skin is a phenomenal piece of kit. Not only does it protect us from the environment, from weather, from infections and from injury, it protects the organs from being injured as well, but also it's involved in regulating body temperature. That's why the skin has so many sweat glands. And also, in response to exposure to sunlight, the skin makes vitamin D. Vitamin D is, of course, very important for us in absorbing calcium that we need to keep our bones strong and our teeth strong. So what are the signs then that your skin may not be quite as healthy as it could be? Well, things to look out for is dryness, flaking skin, itchy skin, weeping skin, red skin. All these indicate that there may be a problem with the skin. And common conditions that affect the skin are eczema, psoriasis and acne. So what is it then that damages the skin? Well, there are 2 major culprits. overexposure to UV radiation, that's sunshine essentially, sunlight, damages the skin, causes wrinkles, prematurely ages the skin, and importantly, increases a person's risk of skin cancer, notably the most dangerous form of skin cancer called malignant melanoma. The other thing that really does harm to our skin is smoking. It damages the elasticity of the skin, which means we get wrinkled and saggy skin that looks far older than our years. It prematurely ages the skin. And other things that contribute to problems with our skin: not enough liquid, poor diet, and stress. Stress is a very common reason why our skin may not have that usual healthy glow. What are we going to do then to look after our skin, to keep it in tip-top shape and looking great? Well, certainly we need to give it the liquids it needs. Just like any other part of the body, the skin needs fluid. So around about 6 to 8 glasses of fluid a day. A healthy diet packed with fruit and veg so that it gets the vitamin C that it needs. Vitamin E is another important nutrient for the skin. When you do go in the bath or the shower, make sure that the water is warm, not hot, because hot water will dry out the skin. And when you do come out of the shower, pat the skin dry rather than rubbing it dry with a towel, because that will cause less irritation of the skin, and apply a moisturizer while the skin is still damp. And you do that because that helps lock moisture in the skin, keeping it supple and healthy, which is actually what you want. When you do apply the moisturizer, apply it in the direction of the hairs, not against the direction of the hairs. And of course, it goes without saying that if you're going to protect your skin in the long term, protect it from too much sunlight by using a sunscreen with SPF of at least 15. And do I need to tell you this? Probably not, but I'll just remind you anyway. Don't smoke. Now, if you've got any problems with your skin, you're a little bit concerned of redness or flaky or itching, or maybe you've seen a change in one of your moles, don't hesitate to go and seek your doctor's advice and get it checked out. And that's doctor's orders.
According to a study conducted by the Russell Research Group, what percentage of people taking part in the study said they felt overwhelmed by the clutter in their home, at least some of the time? Was it A, 31%, B, 61%, or C, 91%? Find out the answer after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone. So far on today's program, we've had business expert Mark Wright giving us his top tips on how to overcome challenges in business. Dr. Rob has been telling us how to look after our skin, and Louise de Winter came on to give us an insight into the wonderful work of London's Urology Foundation. And now we've got some great stuff coming up from our decluttering expert Sally Walford, and we'll be treated to performance by singer-songwriter Michael G. McDermott. But first, before the break, I asked you, according to a study conducted by the Russell Research Group, what percentage of people taking part in the study said they felt overwhelmed by the clutter in their home, at least some of the time? Was it A, 31%, B, 61%, or C, 91%? Well, I can tell you that the answer is C, 91%. According to the study, nearly half of those that took part said that they wouldn't invite friends over due to the clutter in their home, and 57% reported feeling stressed and 42% anxious when their home is cluttered. So some very worryingly high figures for clutter-related stress. So it's a good thing we have our lovely declutter expert Sally Walford here to talk about seasonal declutter as we move from summer into autumn. Hello, Sally.
Hi, Chrissy. How are you?
Lovely to have you back on. Thank you. So obviously, probably not, we weren't surprised by those figures.
Absolutely not. More and more people are getting in contact with all the Association of Professional Declutterers, which is showing, the amount of people like you, those statistics, of people feeling incredibly stressed in their homes. So it's so important to declutter. Obviously, that is my mission, to get everybody to declutter, because as soon as clutter gets in your way, it actually starts affecting your mind and the way that you think.
Yeah.
You're not thinking clearly. So decluttering, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. Was autumn. Everyone thinks spring, maybe January. Nobody kind of thinks that decluttering should happen in the autumn, but autumn is the season of change. Yes. So why not? We're going to have a lot of holidays coming up in September, October, November, December, and hopefully we're going to get some stuff, some gifts, at some point.
To make space.
So let's make some room for those gifts. And it's all about the preparation, really.
Okay.
I would start maybe with your wardrobe, because obviously now we're putting away our swimsuits, shorts, summer dresses, and we're getting out the woolly jumpers, and we're getting out our boots and things like that. So it's a great time to start looking through what haven't you worn this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's start letting go of some of those summer items that we haven't worn.
Yeah.
Give them to a friend or give them to charity.
Yeah.
Let's get that gone. And as we're bringing out our jumpers, let's have another look at those, I think.
Yes.
Double check, you might have changed, you might have got taller, you might not like that style anymore. So try and be a little bit ruthless, I think, with your wardrobe. It's a really good time to start decluttering.
I mean, you sort of kind of think, oh, what if it's really nice, I really like this top, or I really like this pair of trousers, but maybe I put on a few pounds, or I haven't worn it all this time, but you still kind of want to hold on to it.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to be kind to yourself with that, really. So, I always sort of have a not sure kind of pile.
Okay.
I allow my clients to have that, I'm not sort of, you have to throw it away immediately.
Oh, you're a nice declutter.
But what I find that, if you haven't worn that particular item of clothing in, say, the next 3 months, then it's time to let it go.
Okay, that's a good tactic.
Yeah, I don't know if you know the hanger test, which is where you can find out what you actually wear in your wardrobe. So you place everything facing one way in your wardrobe.
Okay.
So every time you wash and you wear them, you put it back the opposite way. So then you can see exactly what you're wearing in your wardrobe and what you're not.
That's so clever.
So yeah, do that for a couple of months. I can guarantee you can see what you can get rid of.
Oh wow, brilliant tips there.
Yeah.
Okay, what else can we declutter then?
So again, let's get ready for the cold month of January. So how about the outdoor spaces? How about the garages, the sheds? You don't really want to be doing all of that in January. Lofts, all that kind of, any outdoor spaces that you think perhaps could, get rid of a couple of old garden brooms, or, just have a little look around and get really organised, because everybody gets their gardens, if you've got one, to get all the plants ready or whatever. So don't forget your outdoor spaces.
Very important, isn't it?
So yeah, I think it's important as well. A lot of gentlemen clients that I work with sheds and things like that, tend to hang on to lots of different sort of like screws and things like that, So limit the amount of stuff that you've got, and have smaller containers. And again, we're probably going to get a gift at some point. So as soon as that happens, one in, one out rule. My favourite rule, one in, one out rule. So as soon as you get a new gift, get rid of something.
Yeah,
that's my motto, you know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I like the fact that you said that you don't have to wait because people think, oh, spring cleaning, that's when you declutter, but it's actually something that you can do on such a regular basis.
Absolutely.
And since we've had you on, Sally, as I keep saying, I've actually made it a part of. I used to love getting rid of stuff anyway, but even more so since you've been coming on and giving us the tips, because I've been working on different things. So the latest thing that I worked on was my makeup. And hair, nail stuff and everything like that. And I threw away so many old nail varnishes. I had 3 or 4 nail clippers. I don't know why. So I just kept the one.
I think everybody does, actually. I don't know why everybody has so many.
I can understand too if you lose the first one and you've got got backup. Yeah. But I had 4, so I got rid of those. So many. I filled up a whole bag just with sort of makeup and lipsticks that I'm not using anymore because I don't like the colour. I don't know why I kept them.
Yeah. So it's like change, isn't it? Again, change and space to allow new beginnings. Again, that's so important, just to bring new stuff into your life is going to help you mentally. And what about this? Setting yourself a bit of a challenge. Like you said, do a little bit of decluttering every day. Yeah. So for example, like you've set yourself the challenge, why not everybody do makeup this week? Yeah. Or, the following week, let's have a look at the wardrobe. Give yourself a little bit every day or every week because everybody's under so much time pressure.
Yes.
You know, maybe that's the thing that you need to declutter. Maybe you need to give yourself a bit of time to sit down, sort something out and clear the way.
Yeah, and it doesn't put, when you sort of put it that way, instead of just doing a one massive like decluttering session, which no one has time to do really. If you do it in stages like that, like, okay, this week I'm going to do the drawer or one of my drawers, or next week I'm going to do the wardrobe or the makeup. Bit by bit you get through it, and actually you kind of get like addicted to it after a while.
Yeah, I call it the decluttering domino effect.
Yeah,
and you know, it should be like that. It should help you, and I think as well, doing a little bit every day is not, you know, not so overwhelming for people that are, you know, completely overwhelmed.
And actually for the busy people out there, you save a lot of time when your stuff's organised, and when you've decluttered, you really do. So, you know, it's well worth it. Sally, thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Having you on. Looking forward to having you on again soon.
Great, thank you. Thanks.
All right, guys, so if you have any decluttering related questions, please feel free to get in touch at info@chrissybshow.tv. So before we go, here are now my tips on how to best avoid tiredness. So guys, we're going to whiz through these tips really quickly because we're running out of time. So the first one is to help with tiredness. It's to go back to basics. So yes, I know we talk about this all the time on the program, but for the benefit of the new viewers, we need to ensure the basics are covered. So I'm talking about getting enough sleep, eating well, getting the right nutrition, and exercising. And actually there's lots of studies out there that show that physical activity boosts energy levels. And I know that, you know, if I haven't personally exercised for a while, I do feel very tired. And as soon as I start up again, I feel really good. So don't underestimate the power of the basics of things as well. Number 2, is to make sure you drink adequate water. So obviously dehydration does actually make you feel tired. So, you know, we spoke about the urology care before. It's good for that stuff, but it's also good for making you feel more alert. So if you, and also if you do start feeling tired or maybe start getting a bit of a headache, try drinking some water. Sometimes we kind of automatically reach for painkillers or a cup of tea or coffee, and all we need really is just a bit of water to rehydrate us, and that will probably deal with the issue. And the third one that I'd like to cover very quickly is to deal with any personal issues that you might be going through. Sometimes people feel really drained, they feel really tired, not because maybe they're not exercising or drinking water and all those kind of things, but they've got something on their mind that's just there constantly and it makes them feel heavy. And as long as it's not dealt with, or at least you start taking steps to deal with that situation, it does drain your energy. So if you do have any issues going on, or, you know, if you have a mental health problem and you haven't spoken about it, my advice to you would be to make sure you speak about it as soon as possible, because even if you haven't solved everything yet, but the fact that you've actually taken the first step in doing something positive and something proactive, that would already make you feel better. It's going to be like, well, at least I'm doing something about it and I'll be getting the help that I need. Well, everyone, we've reached the end of today's program. But don't forget, if you have a story that you would like to share, please do get in touch with us. You can email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about me and how I beat depression and other mental health issues, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. But before we go, here to play us out is Michael G. McDermott with his new song.
Sometimes the world can't be heavy. Sometimes the road can feel too long. Sometimes it's hard to find forgiveness. Sometimes it's hard to let it go. And when you feel like you're falling and the stars come crashing down, and the world, it keeps on spinning, and there's no one else around, you can always call on me. You can always call on me, 'cause we all need a little help eventually. You can always call on me. When the day has left you broken, when the night has left you cold, and when your heart can't take the beating, to run for cover. There's someone who's got your back. You can always call on me. You can always call on me. 'Cause we all need a little love eventually. And you can always call on me. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh, so when you get lost and lonely, I'll be your one and only. You can always call on me. You can always call on me. 'Cause we all need a little love eventually. You can always call on me. Yeah, you can always call on me. You can always call on me. Hey, and I'll be there, guaranteed. You can always call on me.